Hey there, Addie here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. You could probably already tell from the title what this video is going to be about, but before jumping into that, because it is a very serious topic, I just want to make a quick announcement that I am making a goal to release a new video every Saturday at noon Mountain Standard Time. I announced it on my Instagram, which I will link down below. But I just wanted to get that first before heading into a very serious topic. And that is the fact that I almost sold for Amway. Now, I know there's a bunch of videos out there about why Amway is bad or why it's good or people's negative experiences. I just want to tell my experience. That's why I started this channel. Not to shame anybody or to call anyone out by any means. It's just sharing some stuff that I've been through and imparting some of my wisdom and advice. Whatever I have, hopefully to help you out. Because I don't want to shame anybody, I want to make a few disclaimers that if you do sell for Amway or if you have made decent money off of Amway or that is your income, this is not any attack on you saying you're a horrible person or you're stupid or any of that. I want to get that out of the way before anybody jumps to conclusions. Another thing I want to get out of the way is that the person who tried to recruit me for Amway, he very well may be watching this video. We are still in touch. We don't talk about him trying to get me to sell for Amway anymore, but we do talk. I update on him on my life. He updates me on his, so he's not a horrible person by any means. I respect him, and I think he's a great guy. But for privacy's sake, I'm not going to use his real name. So those few things out of the way, I'm just going to get right into it. Now, for the purpose of the story, to protect his privacy, I'm just going to refer to this guy who first reached out to me as Alex. This all starts back in 2019. Keep in mind, this is pre-pandemic, COVID wasn't a thing, and I had just moved here from Massachusetts. If you haven't seen that video, I will link it up. I believe it's up here. No. Up here. Yes. Trying to get used to the card situation. Either side, you'll figure it out. I will link that video, and I will also have it in the description about my cross-country move. This happened in October of 2019. I was in a very different time in my life. I know it wasn't super long ago, but just hear me out. I had just moved from Massachusetts. I didn't have a ton of money. I was working at the place I actually moved out here to work for. I'm not with that company anymore. And again, for privacy's sake, I'm not going to say anybody's names or whatever. Anyway, I was part of a group. Again, this is pre-COVID, so social distancing wasn't a thing and all of that. But none of them showed up, which was a little frustrating. I was sitting at the Barnes & Noble in my area. I was in the Starbucks sort of section, cafe area. And there's this guy sitting at the table across from me. Well, not at the same table. He's at a different table across my way, but he's in my line of sight. And I noticed right away that he's dressed very particularly well. He's business casual, so he has a button-up shirt. He has nice kind of gray slacks on and nice dress shoes. And then he approaches me and he introduces himself. We'll call him Alex for this story. Alex says, "Hi, my name is Alex." And then I introduce myself. "Hi, I'm Addie, blah, blah, blah." And then I start telling him my story about how I moved here, why I moved here, and what I'm doing right now. Well, at the time I'm telling this story was happening. And he's listening and he's genuinely interested. And that's what and to this day, he's still interested in my story. So Alex, if you're watching this, hey, like I said, I'm not bad-mouthing you or anything. But anyway, he tells me his story and how he has these mentors who are trying to help him gain financial freedom. And to me, these words are magical because any of you who have ever moved any distance, especially a long distance way, know that moving isn't cheap. You got to pick up your whole life. You got to get all of your stuff out somewhere. You got to leave behind furniture. You got to buy new furniture. So I didn't have a ton of money. I was working a different job that didn't pay as much as I was used to working in Massachusetts. So financial freedom just sounded like magic to me. And he tells me about this opportunity about building my own pipeline. And of course, I'm very intrigued. So it was just kind of an introduction. He's like, hey, if you're interested, let me know, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds really cool. So Alex and I talk for a little bit longer, then we leave. Well, before we leave, we make another appointment to see each other. And this happened a few more times. He talks about this couple who managed to retire like in their 20s. It was something crazy. It was a crazy age, like 24 or 25. And how I could do that. I'm like, oh, that sounds really interesting. And again, I'm hooked. So what started out to me as a pretty sort of poor situation of these other club members I was originally meeting didn't show up, and he was in the same boat as me. Someone he was supposed to talk with didn't show up. Then we kind of connected and bonded over that. So that happened. And we meet again, I think about a week later. He's dressed very similarly again, kind of like a nice sports coat, button up, slacks, and he's talking more business to me. And he's telling me about this company, Amway. Now, I'm not going to go into too many facts or statistics about Amway, but those of you who don't know, it's a multi-level marketing business where they make money by recruiting other people. What they sell mostly is, what they're known for selling is household items like cleaning supplies, laundry detergent, some health and beauty products, some like supplements or whatever. Anyway, and you grow your business by recruiting more people and having people part of your pipeline. So he wanted to have me a part of his pipeline, which got him more money and grew his business. And I was intrigued. I remember we had a few more conversations. We had a few meetings. One of them, he told me this kind of analogy of buckets, like how traditional, like a 9-to-5 or traditional job, you have to metaphorically go to this well with buckets in order to bring them back to your house in order to survive. And the water represents money. So you go, fill up your buckets, come back, go, fill back. But of course, with taxes, as we all know, the government takes a portion of that. So he used the analogy of holes in the bottom of the bucket. So water's leaking out, or your money. And so in order to not have to go all the time to the well, you want to build a pipeline to have water coming, a steady stream of water coming into your house without you having to do much. And it sounded pretty legit. It did. And again, I don't want to shame anybody who does do Amway or anything like that, but I will say that these people, they're not evil. They're not trying to get you to do something or whatever. They do use buzzwords, try to get you to trust them by saying like, oh, you've got something special, or you can do this, like you've got it in you. Believe me, I'm not the only one who's done this. I actually have a couple of friends who have had similar experiences, which I will get to in a little bit. And I remember I went to this, I don't even know what to call it. It was like a conference or informational session. I don't know exactly what to call it. But Alex invites me to that. And it was at this random neighborhood. It was someone's house. I don't know how. I think they were also part of the Amway deal. And it was this couple, this young couple. They looked to be about like early 30s. And they were talking about how they wanted to walk away from their jobs. The husband was saying he got his wife to walk away. He was also at this session, this info session. And he's working to retire himself with the goal. And they also had a young son. And they were saying like that we want to be full-time parents and full-time couple to each other and to our full-time parents to our son, which in theory is a good thing. And I was thinking, wow, this could be a good thing. And so I met with them. I don't remember their names, but I talked to them, told them kind of where I was coming from, my whole cross-country move, all of that jazz. And then I left. And keep in mind, I wasn't telling anybody in like my personal life or in work life because I just didn't know what to think of it because I was still trying to figure this out for myself. And then Alex, he invites me to this larger informational session, kind of like the one I went to, but it would be with a ton more people, like hundreds of people in this giant stadium. Kind of think like a concert, like an Ed Sheeran, Taylor Swift sort of concert arena with the main people who are known for doing Amway. And I told a friend about this. And this is where things get a little weird or start to open my eyes. So I told my friend about this. I was actually going to go to an event that she and her husband were having, and I don't know if I could. I told her I don't know if I could go. This sounds pretty legit. And this conference was in Vegas. And I told her this over Marco Polo. That's how we talk. It's kind of hard because she has young kids and she has her own business. So it's a little hard for us to get together. But anyway, I told her over this app, and she messages me like really quickly. Usually she even admits she's not good at replying because she's always got a lot on her plate. But she replies right away. She was staying with her mom at that weekend, and she warned me like, hey, my husband and I, who's also a friend of mine, we be careful with this because other couples, like young couples in their 20s or 30s, approach my husband and me with those exact same words about financial freedom, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, I'm not telling you what to do or anything like that, but do your research on this. So with her advice in mind, because she's a friend of mine, I looked up about Amway, and I did see a lot of other stories of people saying they lost a ton of money, like thousands, sometimes even millions of dollars, or how they were promised lofty promises and their mentor kind of shamed them. And again, I don't want to shame Alex by any means. He did not shame me or anything because I didn't get too far into this. I'm trying to keep this chronological for just the story's sake. So I look all this stuff up and see how a lot of statistics about how this model, which looks good on paper, doesn't really work. And I know I said I wasn't going to get into too much about facts and figures, but just to tell you about like the pipeline thing. Basically, you have to recruit X number of people. Let's just say 50 because it's a nice round number. You recruit 50 people recruit 50 more people, continue it down the line. That's how they make their money, and that's how you grow your business, which again sounds pretty easy. I mean, we all have like 600 Facebook friends, right? Or a few hundred people following us on Instagram, which doesn't sound too bad. However, the problem with that is when you go down to a certain level because of exponential growth, math and major here, math nerd. I believe it's once you get to the 6th or 7th level. So just kind of example. So me at the top, I recruit 50 people, then the next person recruits 50, and then they recruit 50. When you get down to the 3rd level, it actually exceeds the world population. So that's where a big flaw in this whole recruitment MLM business model comes into play. Now that's out of the way. Anyway, I look this stuff up. I hear facts and figures like that, and I look up more, and I think like, yeah, this is not something I want to do. And the more I thought about it, kind of going back to what Alex was saying, how he wanted to be a full-time father one day. He didn't have any children at the time, and I don't think he still doesn't. But he said he wanted to be a full-time father to his children one day. He wanted to be a full-time husband, blah, 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 which in theory, again, sounds good. But the more I thought about it, like I never cared about being a stay-at-home mother or being a full-time mother or full-time wife or anything like that until this all went down. Because I thought to myself, I didn't spend 4 years in college to be a stay-at-home mother. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not shaming stay-at-home mothers or fathers or anything. If that is what you do, power to you, because that is a very difficult job, and I give full respect. But I'm just saying that's not something that I personally wanted to do for myself. So after thinking about this, about how hard I worked in college and how hard I'm working now to better myself, I ended up texting Alex, and I told him, hey, after some thought, I just don't think this is a good idea. I mean, good luck to you. We can still be in contact, which we still are. We're still on good terms. Like, it didn't end in like a big fight or anything like that. But I said to him respectfully, like, I don't think I'm going to go through with this. And so that's pretty much my story of Amway. It doesn't have as much scandal or as much pomp and circumstance as some other stories you may hear about Amway. But again, I'm just making this video for me, making this for my channel, and hopefully just imparting some of my wisdom. And I want to give a shout out to my friend, Ricey Cho. She's actually the one who kind of told me about the whole Amway thing. She and her husband actually have a channel, which I will link, I believe, up here. They have a channel together. They do a lot of music, a cappella stuff. I will also link it down below in the description. Check them out. They are super, super talented and really some amazing friends of mine. So I want to give a shout out to them. Thank you so much for watching. Again, like I announced at the beginning of this video, I'm trying to release videos every Saturday at noon Mountain Standard Time, so be on the lookout for those. Like, comment, subscribe. Please let me know what you think of these sort of story time videos. I was trying to get back to my roots of my first story time, telling about my cross-country move. And I'll also have that link down below too. So I'll have it in the card in here. I'm trying to learn more about YouTube and the whole self-promo thing. Also follow me on my other social media. They will be down in the description too. Thank you again for watching. Also, if you would hit the notification bell, that would be amazing after you subscribe. Please share. I would love to grow this channel. And again, I'm just telling these stories for myself. I'm not trying to call anyone out or say you're a horrible person or you're doing this wrong or that wrong. I'm just sharing my experiences with you. Thank you. Have a great week, and I'll see you next time.